Let us start with domain name service server, that is a DNS server. Now, what is a DNS server? A domain name service DNS server is one of the most important servers in your work and the internet as well. Now, why it is so important? Because without a DNS server you would have to type http semicolon slash slash IP address instead of simply entering www.google.com. So it allows that you can pretty much think of the DNS system as the phone book of the internet, right? It is better to remember the names than to remember IP addresses. So DNS server consists of a host name, that is a device which has an IP address. And on the internet, it is a part of what is known as a fully qualified domain name, FQDN. So basically, FQDN is a combination of host name and domain name. And the process of finding the IP address for any given host name is known as the name resolution process. As the name suggests, you give the name and the web server or the DNS server specifically will return the IP address that is associated with that name. That is known as the name resolution. Now, which are the top level domains in use? Now, on the internet, domains are arranged in a hierarchical tree structure. The following list includes some of the top level domains in current use. .com is a commercial organization. Amazon.com, Google.com, Microsoft.com, Apple.com. Then .edu is an educational establishment such as a university. Stanford.edu, MIT.edu, then California University.edu. .gov. It is a branch of the US government, but in your country specifically, let's consider the example of India from where I am. www.passport.gov.in. You have seen that after .gov sometimes there are initials of your country, which means that under .government it is the domain is given for specifically for your country. Then is .int, an international organization such as NATO or the United Nations. .net. .net is a network organization, and .org is a non-profit organization. Now, your local internet service provider is probably a member of the .net domain because the internet service provider comes under the network organization, and your company, or let's say if you're working in a company, then you come under the part of .com. And if you are studying in a university and if your university has a website, they come under an educational establishment. In other parts of the world, the final part of the domain represents the country in which the server is located. For example, .ca for Canada, .jp for Japan, .uk for Great Britain, and .in for India. Now, well over 130 countries are represented on the internet. But for most of the websites that you have seen on the internet, the .com domain is by far the largest, followed by the .edu domain. So .com is the largest domain, followed by the .edu domain. So this is first, this is second. And there are over 130 countries throughout the globe. There are, so for example, www. Let's say google.in. So what does this .in means? What does this .in means? It means that this server is located the server of Google is located in India. So whenever someone from India accesses or tries to ask a query on Google, the request is forwarded to the server that is located in the Indian subcontinent, okay? Now, in the next lecture, we'll have an introduction to the different record types, and I'll tell you what a record means in the DNS server.